Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Mayakala. And first, I want to say, first and foremost, that I'm doing this lesson as just a reminder for myself, just as a motivation for myself first and foremost. And if it helps somebody else, that's just even more, makes it even more better that it's able to motivate someone else. But I'm doing this because I just had one of those weeks where it just seemed like Satan was just kind of making things a little bit difficult for me, the way I was trying to allot time and do things, and it just seemed like I was always every day that I was just being pressed for time, not having enough time set aside to do the things that I know were important to be done, whether it be working over at the plantation or having an appointment that take a little bit longer than I expected it to, and it just seemed like having a routine and having a schedule. Sometimes when you think you're going to have that schedule, you think you have a certain amount of time set aside to do something, especially like studying or seeing just studying, just putting some time aside that you plan on doing, whether it be reading from the scripture, or whether it be looking at a video and taking notes from it. But I just found myself being sidetracked and just being, just kind of irritated every day. And just sometimes the things of this world can just get you caught up, and it can be vexing. At least that's what I've been finding these past couple of days, because so much is just moving fast, and this is what we're expecting. This is what we're knowing. We know these days are being shortened. Satan's just taking an opportunity to try to jump on you, vex you. And, but anyway, Salakia for the little ranting about that. But I just wanted, this is probably going to be a very short video that I do here, because there is, with all things that may have been going on that cause you to get sidetracked, there's really no reason for you to make excuses. You still have to get things done. You still have to set that time aside. And if you find that you're getting thrown off of what your routine is, you got to readjust and just keep moving. And even though it couldn't be vexing at times, you just got to keep moving and don't let yourself make excuses. That's why I have this word excuse here. It says an excuse is an explanation or justification or reason offered to explain a mistake, bad behavior, or failure to fulfill a commitment, usually with the intent of avoiding blame. And that's what this comes down to. You got to be accountable, accept accountability, and not make an excuse. But there's I just wanted to bring out a couple scriptures about men in the scripture who might have made excuses, and usually when you make that excuse, it's usually because due to some wrongdoing and doing to something that caused you to miss the mark or go off track. The first one that I wanted to go to is in Genesis chapter 3, and let me see what verse I want. I started verse 11, and it says, "And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?" And the man said, and this is Adam responding, said, "The woman thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat." Now see, that's just that's an example of just an excuse that Adam had given for missing the mark, for his wrongdoing, for eating of that tree that he shouldn't have been partaking in, listening to philosophy, listening to Eve, you know. And that's just what that is. It's just an excuse. Or the Lord Yahweh had already given him instructions, and he gave those instructions directly to Adam. All right, and he was to observe those instructions, to keep those instructions at the forefront of his mind, so that he wouldn't go off, so that he wouldn't be sidetracked. All right, because even though it was Eve who was beguiled, he allowed Eve to cause him to go off track. And there's many different reasons for going off, for getting off track. I mean, it can be any number of things. It can be just personal incompetency, or lack of social position, difficulties of the undertaking, personal weaknesses. There's just different excuses that you can come up with as to why you did a certain thing. Or you can say somebody's being too hard on you, felt like they was causing you to go off. You could say, like I just mentioned, working extra time on the plantation. That's really that coming down to an excuse. That could be another one of these reasons for the wrongdoing. Pressure from the plantation, wanting you to stay a little bit longer. When I'm thinking back on it, I should have just said no and just said I can't do it. But instead, I'll let that little pressure, cause me to be sidetracked. I'm gonna go to Exodus chapter 32. I started 24. All right, Salakia, I'm going to start at 23, because this is Aaron at the base of the mountain, and other Israelites at the base of the mountain after Moses had gone up to receive the commandments. And Exodus chapter 32 and verse 23 says, "For they said unto me, Make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto him, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf." So there's Aaron's no accountability on Aaron's part right there. It's like he said he put the gold into the fire, and out popped the calf, as if he didn't have any responsibility for what was going on, what was being fashioned, what was being made, which once the gold which had melted, it was him who had fashioned it and made it into a golden calf. All right, he had just given Moses an excuse that popped out of the fire a golden calf, as if he didn't do anything at all. He just put the gold in and it popped out. All right, so that's just making up an excuse for the wrongdoing of him allowing the Israelites to pressure him into going off and doing the wrong thing and bringing out that and making that other making a golden god, so to speak. I'm going to go to 1 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 12. Yeah, 1 Samuel chapter 13. I'm going to start it. I'll start at verse 9 because this is King Saul off making a burnt offering, and he's not the one to do this. You know, he wasn't the one that should have been making this burnt offering. All right, it says, and I'll read it in NLT. This is 1 Samuel chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, "So he demanded, 'Bring me the burnt offering and the peace offerings.' And Saul sacrificed the burnt offerings himself." See, that's where he was going off right there, because of his impatience, not wanting to wait to have one of the priests to bring it to make the burnt offering. It says, "Just as Saul was finishing with the burnt offering, Samuel arrived. Saul went out to meet and welcome him. But Samuel said, 'What is this you have done?' Saul replied, 'I saw my men scattering from me, and you didn't arrive when you said you would. And the Philistines are at Michmash ready to battle. So I said, the Philistines are ready to march against us at Gilgal, and I haven't even asked for the Lord's help. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offering myself before you came." Verse 13, and Samuel says, "How foolish," Samuel exclaimed. "You have not kept the command of the Lord Yahweh your power gave you. Had you kept it, the Lord Yahweh would have established your kingdom over Israel forever." It says, "But now your kingdom must end, for the Lord Yahweh has sought out a man after his own heart," going after his own mind. "The Lord has already appointed him to be the leader of the people, because you have not kept the Lord's Yahweh's command." So this was Saul going off, making excuses by wanting to make the sacrifice and make the offering himself, rather than waiting for the priest to make the sacrifice, to make the offering. This was an excuse for his own wrongdoing, because he wanted to go his own way and do his own thing. All right, but like I said, this is not going to be long. I just first and foremost did this because I want to just give myself a reminder not to make excuse, and that the Lord's work must be done. All right. So I pray that this has been edifying to the listener. I'm going to leave it off here. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha HaKadosh. Shalom.